Okay. Ochamge biikab Kalenjin en tugul lokosen tugoni ako utugul lokerenech kanenyu ko Kibet Arap Soi ako ni kou en kila Jumapili koitun tetutiet nebo Chumbeekab kutitab Kalenjin. Niton ko program ne inegen nekikinam asikobit kobit kokatengei biikab kokatenech biik chemi bitonin ak kiamenge emosto amun en atkai tugul komoe koui kora konyor icheket boroindo nebo kokotis en olimbo gaa. So ko itagat kot missing en nematyan akochin icheket boroindo sikobit kokat ak biik oeng anan ko agenge asikobit kenyoru ng'alalet kobun ng'ololindetab betutab raini ne inendet ko Daktari Arap Soi ne inendet kora ko sirindetab kitabut. En wikit nikonye ko kikoyomis kole asomoni asikobit nyakeng'ololen ko nini kibore sinyokomwoech ele kimwoitoo inendet. Ko kikaarorwech akobo kit age tugul kikamwowech ko chang kot missing tuguk chemi orit ireu cheyoche inai chitab Kalenjin asikobit ibarait kora kiwotetab naet ak kabwatutieng'ung. So en dakiket agenge nemiten tai akoinin boroindo koroker chepkamatut age muremboyot age nekikuren Lydia en yu. Amoe sikokatech inendet akomwowech kole miano ako une sobet en ole miten inendet asikobit ketestai en minitit agenge nemi tai. Okay, ko karibu sana en studio nenyonet Lydia.
Asante.
Iamune?
Chamegei.
Wany tos imi komosta ainon en bitosiechun? Ker ot biririndo netindoi komou nenyun ngilanam emetab biik cheu ane. Ko tos imi koret ainon en ng'wonduni?
Sahi ami Texas.
Yes.
America.
Okay, wany tos America. Iyoe nee en Texas, America?
Sahi niko mwanafunzi, nimekuja hapa kama mwanafunzi, so nasoma. Tuko na online classes of course because of the COVID, lakini tuko sawa kabisa.
Okay. So for imi kong'eten en kasarta netiana imiten Texas?
Well, I came here just like a year ago, so I'm just like a year old. So bado mimi ni mdogo.
Okay. So ko tos ne mipango cheitindoi mara yetar sukul imi bitonon ako ne mipango cheitindoi chekuket mara cheikose tesuldaen en tai yo?
Well, mimi nikimaliza shule, for example sahi, nitamaliza shule, like itategemea what type of a course I'll choose. So after I finished school, of course I want to get a job here, and yeah, na kusaidia familia yangu nyumbani.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now that is very nice. That is having a bright future. Kimokun kit age tugul nemie kabisa, lakini kotomo kichunden any kekose angen ale miten biik che mara kirimisen en gaa olin chekose teamen emosto mara teikat imwoe ng'oliotab heri njema, kibore salamu za heri njema en olon. Wany kotos ko ng'o bichotet?
Well, kwanza kabisa nitaanzia mamangu.
Okay, agere ale kakibet inendet. Okay. We'll be right back again. Okay, kakitindoi changamoto nebo mitambo en yon, but I think we are now okay. So amun kakibet Lydia kebendi straight to the point. Ako en studio atindoi Daktari Kibet Arap Soi, inendet ko sirindet. Inendet kora ko kipng'omutyot. Kukikamwoch inendet wikit nikonye kora ko kasarta age ko kilabotindet inendet ako kikobois en military. Ko en nguni amache kebe straight to the point, kenyor inendet en studio sikomwawech ng'alek chechang kot missing chemiten en kitabuni. Kitabuni yoche isoman ak inye chitab Kalenjin sikobit kong'any ak metit inai tuguk chemengen. So Daktari Arap Soi, karibu sana en studio.
Chumbeekab Arap Soi.
Missing kot daktari, amune bitonon?
Kichomege bwana. Chomege
Yes.
kararan emet. Kimi keunyege sine. Takeunyege this COVID, but all is well.
Yekakowanda oweke any.
Yeah, you know, si unajua wenye bunyodiwe angunda ikimnetia iunyege korok. You go into hiding. Go such a time when you know the enemy is weak enough, then you come out. Yeah. Amunega.
Exactly. So bye ka mami ng'ala karobo rany ropta nebo kwong'et. Karoban ine non kilelen en Kiingereza ng'okik ak pokok, roptab ng'okik ak pokok.
Cats and dogs, huh? Open ropta January.
Mongen akot kabisa, karoban ine nekangekas ko ropta any iman.
Okay.
Yeah, so ko kwanibuch komakitindoi ng'al en oli. Kiboiboi kot missing. So tayari koromwochi kostoik ak biikab Kalenjin akobo kitabuni. Kochang kot missing tuguk chemuch angen amun korasoman kou kikamwa last week. So first of all amache mara en chito nekerin mara netai imwochige en dakiket agenge asikobit kebe content nemiten en kitabut. Angen ale konyishe biik kot missing en betutab raini. Karibu.
Kongoi, and once again, amwae kongoi en this chance that you've opened sikosich ke ngalal from this end nigimi aga. There's a lot of things we really wish to share with our people at home, and also we want to learn what we've left behind, the developments of at home, of what's going on at home. So amajamwon kongoi and this connection. So this is a very crucial connection. Amu panikigebwa bitani ko gigibwane ko setet. We came here to hustle. That's the language nowadays. But there's so much we wish to share, and this such a platform is the right platform. So anego magutit ko ni majita mapagutit. I am from kind of touch briefly last time go abunu Mosoriot and Kitale, lakini My dad is from Kericho, Kipsigis area, and
Yes.
right now I like to call myself an American. So I'm a universal man, so to speak. But Karatigo ko and as far as Olomi in US, I mean Texas. Who I was like with Jerotich, I believe that's what
Yes.
that was the name.
Yes.
So I guess
Yes.
a neighbor here, but Texas go Ajabo. It's a big state. So I don't know where she's at, but I live in Texas. Coming in this country upwards of 20 years, and like you mentioned during the introduction, I've been all over Nimesunguka, this planet. At some point, I was in South Korea. I've been to China. I've been to, of course, United States here. I've been to Europe. Um, I've been in the military. I have a doctorate in accounting, and then I have a passion of religion, science, our history. That's
Yes.
aside from the work as an accountant. I also got myself intertwined in history, science, the history of religion, and this is how this book came about.
Yes. Now, en chito nekere mara netai nekose mara netai ng'ololen kitabu neng'ung'et ni ko I believe you strongly believe kole kimi ele kikisoptoi biikab Kalenjin kotomo koit chumbek emoni nyonet, and mamong'u ale kibendi deeply because chito nekanyor kowendi deep because of the time, but there is this one interesting point chekwanyoru in some of the chapters, and most in chapter 1 ak chapter 2. Amache ibrevenage kidogo about Assis, ole kisoitoi en keny olikinye as compared to ole kisoitoi nguni, and sikenai konai chito netom kosoman kitabuni kole tos mi kiy neyoche kosoman en orit sikokuyo kot missing kou notet.
Gongwe, and thank you again for giving me an opportunity. Angalale Kitabuni. This book, as far as I know, is one of the most powerful book ever written by a Kalenjin man. We're very few writers in Kalenjin. Mosiri Pikyok. Kiache Guyagemwa, Gugisoya Sis. Gi kamukta in Kyogo, Gi Jebanamune, Jebagip Koyo, Gubiki Gigisoy. There's been a transition from Assis and Otagigisoy and Ingenjito Gulasis to a point where we are worshiping something else. But this book, to go around it first, this is not a book Nigangalale Saetinege. This book was so crucial because Kagorateji in Shidai as Africans. So I'm bringing a light. As you can see, like we've been chained before. We've been chained.
Yes.
Knowledge is the light of the world now. And so I call this book Immortal Knowledge because, in so to speak, it's a knowledge that will not end. It's a knowledge that will last forever. What I've written here, ko kitab ko tu ke enki tan majo ko sop en night. This is the crucial book we need to read. And so notice I said a message to the African grassroots. Lago kyo kichanguno. When I'm gay, Arab again, what I'm seeing now in Nyaldan Amiga and around the world, even to include this epidemic or this pandemic of COVID.
Yes.
We lack the knowledge of survival. And so I bring some information, I believe will shine the light that will break the chains. And then over here, Muranoni, Nigeria Togotino, Nyororit, or the chains. We are all chained technically. Get on giving it, Iwendi, Biogenigas, in truth, you're choosing to go be a slave to someone. No, it's different from. Now, what I'm talking about here is different from slavery, submission in Gasit. But we are all slaves. Right now, I'm a slave because I am somewhere I never wish to be. I am working for someone I never wished to work for. So technically, we're chained. Now, if you must say this lady, Igerele aita go samege, because if you can see right here, she's either asking for something to eat or she is praying. So now, to answer your question, now yo assess, is she really praying to the sun or she's praying for something else? Then you come down here, you get like wait a minute. Now
Yes.
you can clearly see that child is malnourished. And while we all can sit back here in Africa, Kenya, Kericho, Kapsapet, Nandi, or I mean, Baringo, we can sit comfortably agele, kimigomye, magimigomye. Maybe jimatindo even a desk to sit on. It did not necessarily mean food. It means our children are not well served. They are not well cared for. So now when you see this thing right here, we call it our ancestors, what did they know? What are they reaching out? What knowledge missing so that at this point in life, Africa is a country, it's rich in mineral resources, but it's the most poor continent. Amune? So that's what I'm writing about in this book, and I am touching on particularly Engalegab Saet or Lei. Amunesigo Keso is so genuine. Amunesigo is so deep. Ninkagerbi today go go mira bruto Kericho go Rambe Nebakanisa. Allegedly Amunesigo is anything, and yet we're the poorest continent. Why? Amune sugu Africa, amune sugu big up kutit, matege bangot Africa. Ci walk those kulen kiwe tap of maisha. Amune age saw it deeply. So tage saw assist, and age saw again gigi. So in this regard, in this book, I'm not addressing the idea of your belief system. My writing here is to show you.
Yes.
What I'm showing here is where all these came from. Everything is here. This is one of the crucial book that I don't care how one person is learned or how one person is wise. This is a crucial book.
Yes.
Oye, dem work sangot oy kitabon agbo so man jilago so ele on lago, because from here kangala le science si mogir we ge soy gorobon, we know so gorobon ge majegetik. We need trees. You need to plant trees if you need rain, not pray. When we talk about sae nigi soy jeba namun jeba gip koyo agasis, how did we go from that ko sae ge soy Jesus Christ? The question is, yes, in which you believe that Jesus will deliver a vaccine, will deliver us from poverty. But at what point are we going to get that help? When is that help going to come? So now, more le mat ko the stage go sa kali ongiro legibunu Bible. Ongiro ongete bege bichigi ure Romans. Ongete there's a lot of things here that ngato knowing you, but I'm open for questions and anything. But what I've written here is one of the crucial factor for youth survival. Magoito work our youth. One of the things I touched on here. Meaning a young man, a young girl, a young lady, a young man. You cannot say life is tough, life is hard. Agimite Rift Valley, a land of plenty. What is it that you're missing? netindo chumbek nememuchi iyai eng gaa.
Mhm.
What is it that you are going after ibisom kurayat anan ile ngikochi kurayat Arap Ruto? Asto Arap Ruto nemoche kokonin sukaruk ak kokonin majanik anan feed your family. No, Arap Ruto will not do that.
Mhm.
While I love the man, I know without us changing, which is the power of the mind, which is in this book, we cannot change and we cannot get any better. Awe kunyor big this idea of knowledge that is there for a long time.
Mhm. Okay, now inimwa akobo keteitinye akobo ng'alekab ropta ile at this point komanyolu kotakomi chito nesoe korobon and yet ndakimine ketik konyone ropta. Now kou yengendoi bitetab Kalenjin tor kotebe chito age kole ani Arap Soi ni ko kietundo no as in amun amang'u ale kinisiru kesoe kebendi kanisa ako lazima itindoi that knowledge of kanisa. So at what point nenyoni nekinye inyoru this revelation or this other thought ile at this point and this ko mami amune sikoyoche. That's an example of saetab ropta, ko mami amune nebo kesoe kekur ropta. At what point? Because tuguk chono chetebenge kora biikab Kalenjin oleo chemuch komabwa camera koteb.
Okay, kongoi. Negero Arap Koech.
Yes.
There are some things che kimokingen.
Mhm.
There were some things che kikyoe che kimokomi naet.
Mhm.
There's a lot of things che kikyai as a human race. No chitab kutit inege.
Mhm.
There's some things that we didn't know.
Mhm.
There's some things that we are doing now after finding out or making discoveries of
Mhm.
the things that should have been what we should have been doing.
Mhm.
So now, ane ko yes, I grew up as a Christian kid. Kyo was Sunday school.
Mhm.
I took CRE. I don't know if this monk no to me CRE nyumbani nowadays.
Kiwe VBS?
Yeah. Nilifanya CRE agoi form 2. I dropped it.
Yes.
But I took all that. I was a very good Christian kid growing up.
Mhm.
Now, at some point, I'm in Nairobi. I worked for
Yes.
Kenya Airways for in 1999.
Yes.
Kukiamaje that area Nagure Mpakasi.
Mhm.
And I ran into a young lady,
Mhm.
a Muslim lady.
Yes.
And I noticed her like katagechi utkumagere toget.
Mhm.
And you notice, as a man, a young man, I saw the features. You know, this young lady, I got attracted.
Mhm.
And of course, I saw some mosque in Eldoret and Iten, Kapsabet. They have mosque, but I had not gone so close to know what is going on in this mosque. I knew they were praying, but I didn't
Mhm.
know the culture, the restrictions. You
Mhm.
know. So I mean, Nairobi, I get like one. I get the features. I get all the gajam like one. Even though
Mhm.
I could only see the eyes.
Yes.
Nole nang aga lakwet ka. She ran off. Kolabat.
Uh-huh.
So
Mhm.
I leji lakwet ka kalya. I mean, the next day, ane tion ranyo go kipkogos. Ore or
Mhm.
labunone. So once we see a particular thing, we go straight in. We don't let go. So the next day, bagan lakwet kinye. I
Mhm.
followed her this time. I did initially the first time when I tried to talk to her, she didn't want to stand because apparently with committee muruju bawe Islamu, or she will be punished for talking to a non-Muslim person. So this
Yes.
time I walked with her. Kaleji,
Uh-huh.
why did you run off? Kocham sine ko ngalat.
Mhm.
Kulo jo ang
Mhm.
sae na tandai ole abonu.
Mhm.
Ko I am not supposed to talk to you. I'm not
Mhm.
supposed to even have a conversation with you.
Mhm.
Here up, Kwech. I'm sitting there. I watch this lady. I go, "Lechi, kwani nene ka kerichita kut kumakan kogata." and I'm another human being. I'm not a wild animal.
Mhm.
That is the first light that made
Mhm.
me very keen.
Mhm.
I need to find out what is it that is so unique with these people. Chikagurege wa Islamo, akanene kya
Mhm.
grew up as a Christian. From that
Mhm.
point, I opened every book you could find.
Mhm.
I've read almost 1,000 books
Mhm.
until I found out
Mhm.
only anger and in truth
Mhm.
the way you received this thing nigurege imu Christo. It was
Mhm.
designed by people called the Romans,
Mhm.
and it was written for that purpose, for social and political control.
Mhm.
Ngoma jabaun Arab Kwech akine nego say this message. The first
Yes.
way you conquer a man or a woman, kikwere metit,
Mhm. Mhm.
you conquer a person by making that person agree with you.
Mhm.
Once ka wachamin lakwa, notice
Mhm.
here, once ka
Mhm.
wachamin lakwa,
Yes.
everything else is history. So jamin gorong metit,
Mhm.
ko lagi buwan unda jumbek. Kogibwa as missionaries. Ache kibwa na yet we want to help you, we want to give you food, we have clothes.
Mhm.
Mikono.
Mhm.
So we opened the doors and we said, Karibu,
Mhm.
and go be keep away by you. Because they
Mhm.
wanted to capture our minds.
Yes.
Once our minds were captured, Kongo wanted the brothers to colonize us.
Mhm.
Kumagit the problem.
Kukoge certain base.
The Essendon base. So that's how people got conquered. That's how people got captured. And even the
Mhm.
Islam themselves. Now, and that is just anyway. It's
Mhm.
like I'm touching the food up top. I haven't
Mhm.
gone inside to show you.
Mhm.
As a person who you call yourself a religious person,
Yes.
there are a couple things that you must ask yourself as a
Mhm.
human being, a
Mhm.
person who wants to think.
Mhm.
You have to ask yourself, when was the first time a book, any book was written or published? The
Mhm.
first time they published in any book, it's
Mhm.
1500 AD on a new CE, Common Era, or in about 600 years ago.
Mhm.
That is the first time they see any book. Could
Mhm.
be published any Bible, the first Bible. Ko
Mhm.
Germans, a family Gutenberg. Those are the first
Mhm.
people who published that book. And how was it published? Like when we talk about the concepts, here's what I'm going to say, and then I'll let you ask another question. What
Yes.
happened where
Mhm.
Africans could give magorek in metit, in omnatit. But
Mhm.
what other people have discovered, if I want to steal from you, I act like your friend. That's what happened to
Mhm.
the Egyptians. Egyptians were the originators of any writing anywhere. So go babi chiki
Mhm.
kure Hebrews no go jorsa. They came and learned from the pharaohs and you Pharaoh. They came and
Mhm.
learned from them. Ipke ge jorsa, ipke series. Ko babi chiki kure Romans. They conquered this Mediterranean area. Ko jorsa,
Mhm.
ipko series. So every idea you're looking at today and you think that perhaps this is the true religion. Imete
Mhm.
imete kapkoros. Kingi imete
Mhm.
kapkoros kugimate kumaja jumbek besang kapkoros. Because kingi besang kapkoros o namege o ngalaldo si ogoshine. And you
Mhm.
find ways to overpower jumbek at that
Mhm.
time. So
Mhm.
kogera na kapkoros agilas mission and iwe you. Ang igilas mission iwe you keboishe jorwengung and one of your family members kwe chita not and kilejin so man you ak you ak bi moji bi kwak ko chichoto kekure pastor. Today ko chichoto ko pastor tako koamdaun ngalek che kikimache kwamda. So igere nguno sigere magsomani Bible enough is because we have programmed to go listen to that one person. So that we even an extent that to go all out here agile ki sitting on Bible in and ki go ki nyunu down Bible in. Yani kiki muin so much you're so scared that if you question where the Bible came, that means you're anti-Christianity. Yani kiki muin sigit nguno kitindi muranik. We have men. Chilemurin. Chilem kole agoy gumang kulamurin. Ang at yuko nyorit. Moko nyoko tep kole keleji angi. Neni moko nyangut kole kabunano kitabuni amugi ko nyorit akole namurin. Kiki mu ipko ngeta. Amaleng kale ngeta ko mamurin. Lakini kamu knowledge kitindai nyogoriet ni mogi majangut kele kibunano tukyo kesomani. Sai kengololi kuni kitindai boyot arap Ruto mwenyewe ne kakondochi emet akawe muren boyot nekim, lakini magere kila Jumapili ipkoteche library. Magere Jumapili ipkoae mchango nebo the chairs and desks for students. And while I love the man and I respect the man, I know he is lost. Aja arap Ruto, aja kandoik chok tugul, lakini kakobetyo biik chok. Because nakatakya arambe nebo libraries. Arambe nebo science centers. And big chok chekabar cancer ak diabetes. We are busy praying. We're busy having an arambe after an arambe to build a church. Kumuren chukai kora. Chuka kumang kelen ka kumuren kimngebeb. Lakini ngileng geleji ingwe nge boishe metego let's think. Ko under the chair. Ako gile murenik. So anyways, I don't want to make it too long. But that is that is what I've touched here. Nagaleji anyway. Chita na maja ko soman kitabuni. Kuba murnik chika ko kakumang kele kakumang kole muren na amaje na yeta murna did nowadays. Urna did and not necessarily men alone. Even the wise women have to feed your mind, because there is no way you can go anywhere or conquer or do anything particular for yourself if you're not an intelligent person. So anyone who wants to read this book, I'm gonna say it's the best book, but it's not for the weak. It's not for the soft at heart. All right, I'll stop there.
Okay, sige tesetai. Agere chito nekakosubech kot mising kikuren Patrick Mutai. Agenge en comments chekakosir chechang kokale Dr. Soi, thank you for trying to enlighten the Kalenjin people. Agere kora kotoche biik chechang. So inye agetugul nekere tetutiani ko imuchi sharen, iyapte sikonyor biik chechang sikenyorun tugul kanetishet en kibagenge. Ingen ile kenyor kanetishet neuni ko ma kit nebo kawaida, ako noto amune sikinam tetutiani sikobit keng'anyengei metit kenai kele tesetai ne en emet ako kitesetai ne olikinye, ne tuguk chemakingen chenyolu kingen en sobenyon nebo atkai tugul. Now Dr. Soi, kan imwa ile kibwa chumbek koib orenywan nekiworshipenen kokanyokosoman nenyonet ele kiyoitoi si kobakowelel koyochi marekebisho asinyokokonech. Ko en kereng'ung ko kibo komonut saet nikisoen kapkoros kosir nikisoen nguni en kanisa, ana kemwa ile?
Let me take you back a little bit to how this thing started. You must know and you must read about the Mediterranean War, because this is where everything started. The Egyptians, those days kikigure Kemet, and Dr. Sambu is a very good writer about our connection as Kalenjin to the Egyptians. Now, Egyptians were very strong that they were ruling that Mediterranean Sea. If there's a book or there's some writing about the Egypt that ruled the East, which means
Yes.
getting the Egyptians, the pyramids and all these things, they were very strong and great people. Those were black people. What happened is when they have this big monarchy of rulership, ko ingenile ngume ngumete bi ngamitu konyo neji ko tuno can come and overpower you. So the Egyptians were overpowered. The first people to go overpower Egyptians could be Hebrews. This area, Assyrian, Medini Syria, Mesopotamia, that area. They were coming to Egypt to learn. So when they came to Egypt, kungunyungu no lemin emeta pick up kutit. Kuno kunyuru na eta pick up kutit lagin manyuru tukul. So that in
Yes.
if go improvise and they're writing based on what they learned and big up quoted. I'm talking about when you in Gilaganyunga Mukamba, away meta Kalenjin. No soma onage piju, lakin in Gomunda Golen he understands your culture. No, keep wabiju no your enough information. And they started writing. This is where you have these big time writers, Chegimi, Hebrews, and Greeks. So now, the first historian go Greek. Those Greeks were the ones who came to Egypt. Now, so there was war around this area. Finally, Italy, Romans. Those ones came and conquered all this area. And when they conquered, they stole the ideas of the Egyptians. Because the Egyptians could many courts like us. Again, when you tap kutit, could assis, jebo namune, jebo koyo, jebo ne, chang ne, could you not again? Yeah, could you not Egyptians? Amu, what happened with us? Give me the mountains of the moons around Ethiopia. So we get gigeste. Some of us follow the mountains. Gebayetuga, course of June I net. If Egypt. And that's why in Egypt they were worshiping Assis, Amun Gunilian Amen today. You get Isis and get Gunilian Assis. So what happens is nearby Romans they stole the ideas, and again they figured get on when you're about to leave, you leave an imprint of you. So what they decided around 325 AD or 325 CE, AD go Anno Domini, or in which or 325 CE is Common Era. What they did around that time, Emperor Roman Constantine. All the preachers, let's find a common ground. Amu biki about Egypt, because Assis. Jemite must have been Palestine, Israel area, Kosai, Jinegure a Messiah. Iwe Romans and the Germans kugisai Jinegure Soul. Soul ko giasis ko rakiso egela mutu assista. Soul ko niga sega nege wal badage le sola. Sola is the sun. So what they did in 325, let's compile all these things into one document. So that when you come back with the same document to Egypt, the Egyptians will say, "Oh, I'm going to go it's the same."
Yeah.
Kung imutaka nyo missionary konyo Kenya, ko chita nigi soy assist kole ninyo. This is why it was easier gele onge touch nitani amune. It's the same assist. It's just that kage walas mago sun nebo sun kage wal gole sun nebo son.
Yeah.
Chugele 10 commandments ko gigure 42 negative confessions. I want you to write that down. 42 negative confessions. Tukyo ko gigure mumek in Egypt. You use the even Egyptian, I have not stolen, I have not raped, I have not thought different. Tuguk chikikiyame momek. This is what they were doing about 3000 BC. Kero the pyramids. Those were what the Egyptians
Yeah.
were doing. But out of the 42 negative confession, kijer 10. Those 10 is what you call 10 commandments. So now, to answer your question, I took a long way to explain to you why but it became easier for us to transition to the new day worship. Because we know of a man who walked on water. That is a miracle. He walked on water, but in truth, what the Egyptian was saying,
Yeah.
if you see on the ocean, it looked like this something walking because kanamge waves aga sister. So they
Yes.
used to say the sun walked like it's walking away. The sun made a miracle. He walked on water. It was so easy. And give a kid a story. I can't believe this is amazing. And that's what happened to us.
No.
And I'm not saying,
No, they must.
yeah, no, story look at how a kid was so shocked and was very welcoming to that idea. Now, what happened is some of these things where China to Africa, we did not go look how these ideas came from. And this is why you put it in a book. You put any secret that you have in the book because they know that magiso money. So everything the way we were colonized, the way we were conquered, the way all these things that have happened then, it's written. And go to you present day China. Look, kir makelele nitindo picture. Again, we've been Chinese, and nobody is going to see the actual contracts. Jackie sign and the government of Kenya at Chinese. Nobody is looking into that. Because maso money chitan nanyon. Magiso money, magimagiro. Right now it's easy. Ibibol lagilo so you Arab root Arab Kenyatta. Oh wali go daimet called China.
Chinese.
What do you mean? Go call daimet Arab root Arab Kenyatta. Agunyini le namaje the best road. You didn't care. You might go down Arab route. You're lucky. Memoji tebile. Kuibuna no rabinijo. The same case, cooking go na Bible, magileji kibuno no Bible in. The same case, our youth come to present day. Today, go walk to Slago Kyok and a pijana. I will maisha ningum. Maisha ningum, a momo tu yegele kama if you are in a tea estate. Rather than go meet on Sunday or Gobosa, Kalia Magitu Yagayarambe, where we can buy a processing station. Majani. Why don't we have a processing station for milk? And you mean to tell me every day, the government, every day we need to go back to Arab Ruto, Arab Kenyada? Huh? At what point are we going to say, let's take the responsibility as us as a people? In your neighborhood. Not necessarily Rambe. You can start your own business, but you can do the most as a group by forming a tea company, a milk processing company, a grain or maize processing company. This is not a time to go accusing and blaming the government. Every day go magelele na siasa, lakini our youth continue the turmoil because magigurege intellectuals kuyiga ya Arab mse. Magigurege agele ongi ngololse. Kecheng night, kecheng a way forward. And so that's why I keep saying, kitabu ne kumababik che wisesen the emotions. This is not for an emotional person. Ay,
Okay, now, Daktari, I'm still within the topic of worshiping. Kosubke ak kaimwa ile kirisoma kitabushek chechang, and now you have your own conclusion. Kemwa kora akobo ngalekab kingele he worked on top of water anane, yani kibune kitam kele kibu Jeiso pek parak. And you've exactly told us about how you know about the story. Now, kokingesa kora en kapkoros olikinye kesome mara kesome ropta, kesome rurutik, ko kesoe asisa. Ko the same way ot nguni ngesa ko en Christians amangu wale ot Muslims akichek koyani kole walu Jehova saet ngiso chito nemyoni kosobe. That is why kerot en tuyoshek crusades komiten pastaek che mwoe chemuche komwa kole kiasochi anum nikitinye cancer kosob, kiasochi anum nikimokotinye kasit kosob. Aya, number 2 komi kora biik chekekuren prophets chemuche komwa kole kong'ung'et ko mi kimi kibolchi keter, yani they can foresee. Muche komwa kole agere kabisa ibore en kenyisiek chemi tai, ana agere korotik chechang. Miten prophets kora chekikomwa akot en Kenya kole agere konyone kabisa kobendi korotik chechang en Kenya. Mi alak chekamwa kora kokanam corona kole masire arawetab somok nyokwendi corona asikoit kora nekolkol akosabany emet for another 100 years. Now, ko inyon komosin kora komi biik cheyoni kole opposite nebo Christianity any mara ak Islam, komi biik cheyoni kole mi biik chemiten ka chemuche koker tuguk kora, biik cheu cheng'orse ana orkoik chemuche kora kopanishen biik en society, mara kele kochorso chito nemokingen kochor teta ana sikiriet, ko kimuche kechup ako kiyoni kele ngechup chito ko alak ko kikekas kele kaam suswek chito ko kachorso konyokochupis chito kole chito nekoyoe kouni kwome suswek mara en betusiek 5 ko nan ikose man kele kaam chito suswek. Mi kora daktari chebo kienyeji, abo kora en news ko nan ikose kelelen mara mi biik kotinye uhusiano aeng kowochige lodging olon, karon ikose kelelen ko matokobesio. That is the power of biik chekiyoni kele imuche koyai kwang'utik chu kemwoe ilelen miracle nemwoe chitab Kalenjin. Now, what can you say about that? How is it different? How is worshiping nikibo Africans, in particular biikab Kalenjin, amun noton nekeng'ololen, amun kimi kora beliefs choton kele kot kesa konyone ropta ana kot kesa koyookse kit nekamatoyookse buch ndakamakisa. And now there is this prophet and akora prophets chebo kipkaa, yani biik cheu orkoik cheng'orse chekere tai ak bichon chubisie. What is your point about that? How can you relate all of them?
Thank you so much. First thing I will say, we need to grow up. We need to grow up. Because, again, remember, there's some place I mentioned science. And the reason I approach science is because it's been totally knocked off. In a way that if you inginyunguno kapchumba agini leje chumbek amuja ararok ilet, or I can bring down rain. You know what they will do to you, right? Kimutin kikuren psychiatric unit. Because again, we know what causes lightning and thunder. If you still want to believe in that, that world nabaje mosit, then yes, you might think imuchi igurok tagurok. But if you are at a point where you know it's time to understand what brings forth rain, what brings forth lightning and thunder, kanyo gorista negaitit ang nelalang ko tuyo. That's when you see lightning and thunder. Ako nyo nei ukanyo ropta amu kasungu kan the planet kuleji kule. One sako 2,400 miles per hour. So there's wind circulating, hot and cold come together. Go langit ngonyi go evaporating. Go mibara go white koroban. If you're going to tell me that you can pray for rain, how harabwe ke ngala leje bin walevi ami group it up kemainik ami group it up bijo gisogi len bendije nam. How many of us drink? How many of us wanakunya busa? All those people who just get bendi nip kebele anga yin go tom Chumbeek. All our men and gentlemen and women before Chumbeek. Bija tukul bendi kebele Ramze. College, we need to grow up. Ngalega witchcraft. Again, come the word of science or religion. As far as I know, the only thing that I can spread to you is through touching, and then I blow hair from my mouth to you in your COVID. Lakini big they want to dwell on witchcraft. I mean, what world nagemite? You mentioned something about prophets. In this world, I mean, what world are we in? I mean, mama ja chupchi lakini and mama jangalal na patwe lakini machinga inagana to goes to be a war. I mean, I know big jokes I goes be, but it's a big joke to go up apos nandi joja munyale lap maisha. People are trying to see those are neuro nano authority. That's why kakamwale unge gurge big up kutit and or Kenya. Kitu yege agero gina kyai. Because if you're going to sit there, Agile, go, there was a prophet. What prophet? Prophet ni moja kwaini. Good koi moja mwa igole no coronavirus. Kolia magoni giriji. Mogare juda. I mean, Arab Kwech, unkete bege real truth. We need to grow up as men and women. You know what? You remember in game in Nagi Bakadi, you went in Gimme Town, Ulejita Cats, at Juguleji. You remember the way they would trick you, Legend Gule, Nibelera Conte, and I Kapandani. And then sometimes so you get enticed to play more. Come down outright, and then sometimes on a feature. That's what these prophets are doing. You must be a superhuman to think that you can predict a future. Yes, there are some predictions by statistics, and you can look at data, the amount of information. Okay, so and so in a year or so. He will have so many massive followings. A doctor, a nurse, so and so. It's potentially possible that you will be a very strong man in the future because that I can call prophecy, but it's not prophecy as such. It's just a prediction. But like in Gutinu Gulejin Jita, oh, you're gonna have you will have 10 cattle tomorrow. You believe in me? Then there's no at that point the problem is not him or her. The problem is you. Imagine to be believing some stuff like that. At what point are you gonna realize and itebeja teleji ngot ko gilejo anyuru baratet matai? Kolya metende ni barata na sai. Why you not lucky today? Why you asking me? Kolya si majagun sataka today? If we're going to talk about a prayer, Arabwe, kugile gesa, pimoji bi kiruito sa eje gibar Chumbek. Pimoji bi jote leji mausa gomye. Kele wane, omu imane ngimoji the stack sa mu ko kararan. If that gives you if that will give you a solace, a comfort. Kung masire ke kit agitene maye wa mo gliwe aglejita ne maye ko ha ko romin maisha if ko let me drink it away. I want to drink so that this problem I can feel good today, so that tomorrow you wake up and you realize that problem now with the is the same problem I have tomorrow. Mutai chumatatu ko bendi jitu kasi. I don't care if you were praying. I don't care if you were drinking. Tomorrow, you're going to go for work. So, you don't know it. Now go let my indicate with it. Now go my yeg last night. He was doing what is called escape. You're escaping a problem today. So you can escape by drinking or you can escape by praying. At the end of the day, on Monday, we're all meeting. Same place. At work.
Okay, there is this issue of big gender powers ko chubik in the community and society. Ko ngele na ngobit tengek na kine ane goyak sana ingemo na nagoyak magere chi. Kunya giumge nguno na kengalalen ke lotwet kinanum ingen go dilen ak pichote. That is why nuga gonin examples ale mi bik chenangele ko am suswek alen ko kikachor sana kikichup konam mi kora tuguk cheu banitwogik and it is a belief. So ago miten examples ko nangele kamoya bik imbaret kele ongebokokchinin Jehovah. Ko kirokose stories have not yet tomo agerchigei ngona lakini kirakas komwoe bik kole bik chichang kole kikimoitos imbaret kopet ketit ilet ako kolum elebune mpaka ako kobor ne kiwotit.
Gatelen, go for a second.
Yes.
Allow me to cut in.
Yeah.
One thing nemaging anyway. Again, come on, cut out this talk when I told you making a good psychological understanding of what's happening. We didn't know enough, but it's time to understand the psychology of Vajita. Goajita na if I'm a killer, Goaji ne intend to kill or nagababaris, you realize that kita nagababaris kumelenga nget karon babaris amekuwa a problem kwa kichwa for a long time. So there are people who are mentally sick. There are people who have genetic problem, maybe the genes or their DNA that was passed from family to family. I believe it was a year or 2 years ago, there was a family, they all of a sudden, their bones got weak and they could barely stand. According to that thinking, that question, it might seem that there's a curse, lakini you have to follow what is called a DNA and a gene. This is why gigilen matitun and metunege pick up oret and a tionda king. Because big choko gingen kyole ngoti bitun chito nebo tiondo negerge kun mege korotik. Ako lagok kingesi lagok kumangu lagok chema normal. So now, when you talk about kele kakichubis, ku yo kakiweke ngalecho pa kanisa chikelecho kanget a preacher agole this will happen to you tomorrow. And I need to remember miongo Benny Hinn or some of these preachers chiki mogore chilen o kisojini chitap kowendo. Today, 2021, there is no record of one of them proven actually healed a person who could not walk, who was sick. You have to use science. You have to think. And then you have to understand. Yes, we used to believe that. And what happened then? It really, what they were doing is a psychological game. So that from that point on, you actually believe, and I'm going to die. And then you start losing your mind. And when you lose your mind, to a point, unaenda kukula crass. Because it was a psychological mind. But I'm going to pray for you even tomorrow. There is no record, not one, that can be shown that kisa fulani ipko wendat fulani, kisa fulani ipko sop. If you're sick, go find you a doctor. Kinyain. Nenga ya bigutu nyilege saun mogorek.
Okay, maybe to add on that, I say some of the people go challenge some of these prophets and these fiery preachers che mwago lesa we challenge ni gelenjin. Amune smo visiting medical facilities ago boss bi chiki go sere tiago mnyasa for a long time in hospital. And I think tom guy go bitwa luteta apa swali no ago inguna.
Mawinyuru because ni majambazi.
Okay. All the same, get drifted kidogo away from belief.
Okay.
Ko mie giti nyang kitabu ni agobo ngalega industrialization. Ago from the knowledge now genagane about history. Ko again amuna esikobwa chumbe Africa. Ko gisip ko na gole rich Africa in raw materials. Kito mage ke musician tu kichan chemi Africa. And that is why gibwa kuchab railway sigo kula ndugu kuba bitonin ak yeitya ko boko we kany konyo kwalde wech tuguchotet while kichichoket in the beginning. Iboru kole makitindoi naet nekimuchi kechob echeket tuguchu anan makimache kechop. What could be the reason? Amun ikere nguno kou petroleums in those times ko amangu ale kikiibe ak pakerefinen en bitonin asikewe kora. The same case with tuguk chekimineni in Africa. Ko kikimineni ak keib ak kechop inyakyaldewech in form of mara ko tuguk chekakochobok, items chekakoek ready keboisien anan ko raw materials che ready keboisien en mara construction and whichever. What could be the problem? Ako tos kikichililen ano?
Problem iwe. And it's so obvious that this is why igaso in Chumbeek and Achia can never sang kitende shit that jita netoi. Because it's just outright in like is on the writing is on the wall. Number one, every time Arab Quech, I don't know if you're married. Nebo siriga kwando kogita bunik. Every time you disagree and go serious again your family, and then one of your family member go out here, and you have chaotic life from the onset. Africa there so many tribes, just like Kenya sai. Obardo sira agolen Arab ruta. Ujita na bagutit ilin Arab ruta mo bagutit. But if Kenya is going to be a peaceful country, one more time. At some point, we will have to get to a point where we have to recognize that we have to live as one, which means it might mean in the future we have to learn to speak one language. I'm not advocating let's get rid of kutit and whatnot. But if you do not want to be robbed of your resources, then you need to find unity. And you will not find unity if you are speaking different languages and having some different tribal alliances. This is the Libonda Jumbe. Mugiba Jumbe, Konagole, if Gabunu must and in coastally, mengen in Wataita, ak pick up Wakikuyu, and then pick up Kutit and then Wachaluo. So you can easily attack the Taita people. These ones in Jimiulu, they have no clue. Kuki Bajumbe uno kusap uno ngipu itu uno you the chief so those days we have the chiefs and these chief then kingdoms. Nige legend in one of the chiefs. Hey, your neighboring tribe, Luos wanakusumbua. Hey, we can help you. Yeah, Lewane.
Yes.
That tribe, that kingdom of that chief at that time, we can help you. Now in fights, another enemy. The Mengen this is an enemy. He touch an enemy. Now you have an enemy within you to knock off that other enemy. Once you get rid of that enemy, could this one I was a talker. That's how we got conquered. That's how we got colonized. And today, China wamekuja. Guess how they are coming in? Ingin kulimonamege Kenya ak Tanzania. Kuisha this president of Tanzania will mamaje investment by China. But because we are so selfish, we're thinking just Kenya, kogeta Chinese. And Chinese are not here to uplift Africa. No. Mamiji na nyo gore ngaramu se no authority. To get a benefit from you. They know you have resources. And guess what? If I have to get to Kenya, I have to make them feel good. Imuwe bunjita mayo and kila kitu so unakunyo yangu kararan Chinese. Because you can sit there and nini mbaya na watu wa Tanzania? Chinese are good people. Coming and that's how wasungu walikuja. Kingo Boy missionaries, they came and they were saying, Kingo Boy as missionaries, some of our people, they were wondering what's wrong with these other tribes. Little did they know that they were coming to take all the resources that were in Africa. And right now, Europe is magnificent. It is so nice. Lakini, mengin jita na toy. All those that has happened in Europe, kugibunu jornatet. And that's how industrialization, while it's good, but kumachigi ngomit, matke meta yuongozi jita genge, asip ko megan agreements, one group, nemutai could also become our enemy.
Okay, kita sudah miten cita nege guren Brian K. Mutai kole isubi Life and Goods Library Learning Resource Center kole kimuchi kenyorune nano kitabu sechu akyal amangu ale tagori walu baadaye yon kitaroti tetutiet.
Okay.
Now there is this issue nebo kipsomaninikab Kalenjin ak Africa kora. Kicham ateben kalelen amune si madaktari, walimu, and any other course. Inyoru syllabus, tukuk chikikineteke in 1970. If it is medicine, you go, ibe ineti ke kora sukul tukuchote, tukukab 1970. You are reading about them, you are studying about them nguni. Amune siko makitindoi echeket syllabus chechoket chekimuchi kesoman kinetengei tuguk fulani. Ngalekab research kiagere kora eng kitabut kementionen. Daktariek chu somandos tugul. Amune sitom kai kodiscoveren komeken discoveries cheechen kou nguni COVID-19 kekonye vaccination ak kerichek kobun bitonin. Ako aini makikonye kora kikasir chepchumindet ake oin kole biik chenyolu kobunchi mwisho kabisa kucomplainen ko Africans amun mami kii mami kii manufactureni kabisa. Manufactureni kityo pastaek ak oil chon kiilen chebo anointing oil. So and it was a challenge. Amune siko makitindoi echek biik. Amune siko makitindoi en Africa chito nemuche kwo arawet anan ko exploren the space. Ngalekab kou internet ko makitindoi mamang'u komi Africa source age tugul nebo internet. Why? Amune ako somandos biik kyok like you yourself ko kirilande bitonin ibeisoman. So I think it is also a challenge kora now poseni to you. What is it new ne tos iyai ne muche kotagunen Africa? I hope you are getting my point. What is wrong with Africans?
I'm getting your point loud and clear, and it's a very good question. Our problem, it is so obvious that, again, someone else, they just sit there and wonder, what is wrong with us? What is wrong with us, Samu? That is a very classical question, which is central to all our problems. We have, people in academia, and you wonder how could it be possible? Like what I wrote in this book, you would think this is just a normal knowledge that is known all over. But for some reason, the selfishness, neginamech Arab kwech, kotke alde emenyo. The selfishness. Let me take you a little bit back to history. You know how the Ligibwanda Jumbekis? Ligibwanda Jumbek, again, like I said earlier, they used to go, like, right now, pick up kutit, Mount Kenya. The way they used to do, hey, big up kutit, what is wrong with these people? We can help you. And all of a sudden, this is how we sold each other. In American, African Americans who came here as slaves, you think you don't find war in West Africa coast. The leaders of that time invited Chumbek, Mugagi promising some benefits. And before you know it, a whole generation is sold out. So now when you look at what we have as people in academia and then big scientists, there's a failure in leadership in Kenya. I don't care. No, we are fooling each other. Because the failure of our leadership is to look into a situation where we have now and we recognize that we have problems. And that leadership of that country is supposed to call on all these learned people, whether they are overseas or at home. You call on those people and ask them, okay, you are a scientist, or you are in a particular field. If we have a problem of COVID, you would call those doctors and ask, back to these people who are selling the herbs in I don't know. Yeah. Magat kong'et Arap Ruto, Arap Kenyatta ako kur scientist ako leji, go find these people. Let's have a conference and find a way we can find cure for COVID or malaria or AIDS. But the problem, we are so selfish that a chief who was in West Africa could sell half of the country into slavery. Today, because of selfishness, we only look at big up kutit, so that Kakamu knowledge in we are a divided country that can never come together. And if we had come together, we could have called on all these scientists and say, let's come together and make something that can change the country. But because of failed leadership, to include Poyonda and Yara Bruta, Amuganget Arab Bruta, Nyando speak. If Kayarambene Baganisa Natawa and Yarambene Basibitali. If Kayarambene about one church after the other, if you go to, I don't know if you've been to Eldoret, go to referral hospital. Go to referral hospital and tell me if you do we have leadership in this country? But we choose to pray instead of do. We're choosing not to do it. We're choosing to pray instead. Rather than look for cure, you look for divine intervention. And that's what's happened to us. Rather than come together, everybody is saying, you know what, let me make some money for my family. You know, notice 70 something million people voted for him because in Chumbeekab, what it means to come together as a something that will benefit them. So it's like Kenyan government or African governments could have come together and said, Nenegeoi, what are we going to deal with Chinese? How are we going to deal with this other country that is invading Africa? They will never do that because they are not united. And you will never unite as long as you have so many tribal thoughts. Because tribal thoughts will always make you disagree. And people God made them speak different languages so they don't unite. There is a line where it was said that God made them speak different languages so they never unite. And right now, 2021, we are speaking so many languages and wonder why we still struggle as a people. That's what's happening. And no matter how many learned people we have, we will never achieve anything as a people. Let's come together and work together for the benefit of not me and not my kids, but the great grandkids. So, that 20, 30, 50, 100-year vision. The entire country is just waiting on who will be the next president. But they're not looking at 20, 30 years ahead. Right now, we are so against BPI. You are against BPI as a lady and a woman. A lady, you will have an equal share in the Senate as a woman. And you're against that. Just because, Mahamara Bruta. Ask our people, say, who has read that BPI document? We don't read. And yet, we know that our people expect perfect right here. But you don't realize like you give it because in 1980, multi-partyism, you President Aramoy. At that time, people think Raila ni mchinga, lakini himself amesuffer. That man went to jail because he was asking for multi-partyism. Today, we talk all this politics because of that benefit of multi-partyism. Fast forward, 2007, 2008, they had to amend the constitution, which is bringing forth these benefits. Now, when you bring PPI, I don't care. Emoji giro gilo Arab Ruto. I mean, in Guruitan again, Arab Kenyatta and Raila are wanting leadership. But you have to look at 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now. How can we improve on this constitution? Just because Mahijam a particular thing, you're going to disregard the entire country because you didn't like. I'm going to stop there. I'm a Majengan politics, but I'm just giving you a point that shows that we cannot come together and even bring forth or put together a document.
Okay, my question now kasi one to my thing got missing about this circulation of curriculum, or rather studies somanet. Kung nabagari check, you go to school, you use the same syllabus chigibo gainia, and you are expecting to be somebody different in the society. Iso mani tu kiso mani chita no go kwa retire, and you want to be a different person. How should we deal with that as Africans? Pick up Kalenjin. Should we? Is there a way nagi muche gena our own way of teaching? Is there those research John ebichongi so masatugul matos ko bagen gago ago namgi ne tos ko terit kali asigete se dai gorage so mani age wekchini ge tuguk chigi ay bigak ago still get tindai problems chigi temara ginge so mani gelelen kimai ge solve.
Arab Koech. We were, you have to go to a good question. That's a very good question. But you were in court to court, Kenyan courts. Agira Ngoroiki lodging our judges and lawyers. It's the Jigi Lodge British, Kokabwa Kenya. So what's happened to us? We are so dependent. Whether it's cure for medicine, whether it's financial strength, whether it's the curriculum or the books, we are so dependent with someone outside because we lack something what is called self-esteem as a people. Yani mogit prostanigi so the danyo nguna Dr. Soi agole big yok. Nguna this thing ngala sai. This book right here. Just because kamwa something na majamji in one of the things chikamwa. Konde a wall. That it doesn't make any sense anymore. The curriculum negitindoi in Africa. Some people have come forth with ideas on how to get it better or find new ways of going forward. Lakini, they get flashed out because it just doesn't sit well with them. And so, yes, it's a good point. I agree with you. It needs improvement. But again, it comes back down to what I said earlier, that we have to trust our brothers and sisters. We have to read and learn. We have to understand that their curricula or the things that we were reading needs to change. Guno, our leaders go in Arab somewhere, Koitalel somewhere. There should be books left and right about Uyumse. All the libraries, even though we don't have any library really, but all the libraries should have all these books so that they can replace the books Chibaga Chumba, again replacing Kitaboshi Kibaga. Like this book right here. I wish it can go to even not necessarily to each school, but library, Big Up Kutit and Kenyans. But problem again, it goes back to leadership, because leadership of a country that loves that country will do right for that country. The problem right now, we are not for our leadership, even though short-sightedness, matindo vision about big, tindo vision about his wallet, tindo vision about his family, but matindo vision about so if those leaders can come together, we can put forward a good curriculum for us as a people, or for us as Kenyans, or for us as Africans. But the problem, once again, to just before I stop, is dependency. And when you get away, if I'm dependent on you so much, I won't even think outside of that. I'm always going to wait for you to give me direction on where to go. And that's what's happening with our people. We're depending so much in someone else to give us directions. That's why the youth or the youth will learn and yet you have farms. Don't go to the curriculum. Start with even Gurgatio. Those boys just put on those on the shopping center, put on those jioni. Let's do something together. Let's create something together. Something like that could also work on the curriculum.
Okay, agere comment nebo chitane guren Nora Chemirmir. Kala watching from Switzerland. We need to wake up Aki. Kale kuna shida mahali nyumbani. Guren Nora Chemirmir. Asante sana.
Thank you.
Kale guren Jafet Rono. Kala from Japan. How can we support the show? Okay, gotimai supporting the show. Inyone inbox nebo our Facebook page Kalenjin TV asikobit kengalali en yoto chechang kot missing. Mi chito nekekuren kora Mike Cheluget kole great discussion. Now, kotimache kora kotinye swali nemoche itebenech ko imuchi isirwech comment kotigere en Facebook isiru en Facebook, kotigere en YouTube isiru en YouTube ko itwech comment ireyu mara moja. Kotimache kora ing'ololji daktari privately, imuchi kora isirwech konyo inbox anan ko sikomwawech daktari kora ele muchi inyoru kotindoi email anan Facebook page anan whichever platform nekimuche kenyorunen. Now, kebendi ketoroti daktari. I want you to talk about neocolonial
colonialism.
Yes, amun enane abwati ale tesetai neocolonialism en nguni amun chang tuguk chi ngoba chumbek ko kibokokwech ketake kebartenge chikimako chechok. Example ko kicham abwati lakini kwaker ko mentionen en kitabut ng'alekab kainutik. Inye ngunon kekurenin Dr. Kibet Arap Soi. Ako ne ayani kabisa ale akoi komi kaina ake kora nekikakinamdeum nyon mara kot ko ki Joseph anan Josia anan and I'm not saying they are bad names, but actually kibwone ak chumbek mamiten is chito ngele ngunon for example Ronnie ko makerke ak ngele Kimutai amun ngele Kimutai ko chito nekisiche Mutai anan ko there must be something associated with Mutai. But now kekurenge kainutik cheu Precious, kurenge kainutik cheu chombo Kingereza. Makomi salanikab Kalenjin cheu chukiche tabutan nye kuni kurenge kasari en lazima. Komi kit nekemoche. Kabarno. Yani cheluget kainutik chon kitindo maana en bororietab Kalenjin ko kikere komobo kikebany chebo chumbek nguni kikurenge isiru kityo ile anakure lakwenyu kainet fulani unnecessarily kome nemengen ot ile minen ne. So I think lagertoi ane ko totally it is a part of colonialism netesetai nguni nekibokokwech chumbek ketesendai kotakewon and yet kimwa kele ki independent. What are some of the other things kibokokwech chumbek apart from chon karani mwawech kou religion among kora lekot education because kona mwoe ale kitestai kerefereni tuguk chekisomani keny ko wany tos ko limit kora nekichobwech chumbek siko makisire sikeite yoto kityo keweksei kole sike yon kimoe kenai kit neo kosir icheket kebakekutungchi keteben icheket kou ng'alekab space exploration is ko mamiten chito nekikwo en Africa as far as I know. One, is it tago part of neocolonialism? And if it is part of them, what are some other things kora che kitestai kebare nguni chekibwech chumbe?
That is a very outstanding question. And I really appreciate, man. Kongoi Arap Koech, this is a very good platform. Akbijo ka congratulate each one. Some won the book, some want to support. Um, One other support we can do is kagurbi ka kotenyo and kagurbi chine mugokas this voice to come out kengalal again chat a way forward. Because your question Arab Koech Kona Mege, it's really connected to what I wrote on this book. Because Gibaro, there was a friend of mine anyway. In
Mm-hmm.
Magali got to be this country about 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's really 20 going to 21.
Mm-hmm.
Ma meaning iriga much go some cray and you. But Kagirat Chiji we. Mapaka Chiji by money. Kagirat or yacht.
Mm-hmm.
He was abusive.
Mm-hmm.
Abusive to a point where, you know, Peter Kwanda is using drugs and all those things.
Mm-hmm.
Era cheetah.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't believe my eyes because King era Chiji. We were a little bit giginaiye kidogo ngap kazi next kasi logerat. Then I followed the case and I found out he was that abusive. Kimongin. Cheetah be money. I could not believe it that the wife was going to see him in jail. The same wife,
Mm-hmm.
the same wife who was reporting him, who went to court to get him to jail, is the same wife who went to see him in jail. And you know why? We are conquered. In other words, that person, whether in jail or at home, ameharibu huyo mwanamke kichwa to such a point that woman is dependent on him.
Mm-hmm.
And to your question, in terms of neo-colonialism, what I wrote on that book, Kiko Manda Chimbek. But again, we are dependent on them and we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Kiko Sumo, poison. We were poisoned in our minds. We don't know. Sai who's watching this and listening to this can say, no, I am a good person. I am not poison. Here we are going when we were talking about Manana Kaniza. That person when di Kanisa, ko len when di gipsangwet. And then Jesus to come back. Not knowing that when they said a new age is coming, it was known after 2,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the wobble and the traveling of the earth around the sun, the ancient noticed that after 2,000 years, there's a change. That's why we have something called ice age. When did this planet do to a point where it gets extremely cold and I notice it takes 2,000 years. So what he's talking about, new age. Kuchi jota nungi mwaji leji look, kike chas, una keke hapkurus. We'll say, no, 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 this is the right way. Right now, lago kyok, kule nage akigura na Philip, kigura na Patricia, kigura na ne. Leji sai change your name igurege che mutai ana che chumba che chirchir agai neta kwan. Atakwambia nope, you don't tell me that. I'm understanding that chita ne igurtege kai ne. Chita ne ilen Arab lakweta Arab kwech kugurtege Arab kwech because ne lakweta Arab kwech. Ujita nagatach kai netap sang. Yes, I have one. I had one.
Mm-hmm.
Because we were ruined in our minds to think that that new name is the good name. That our African names are so ancient and so local.
Mm-hmm.
don't call yourself by these new names. In other words, so we are so happy that I am now Maria. Amu Maria kugeri kigametap Jesu. Or Daniel, because Daniel go meet the Bible. And you don't know anan magingen kele kige by wage even today. So that's what's called neo-colonialism. Chumbege kunugo ba unra. When you rebel, when they leave an imprint. That's they leave an imprint so that even while they are away, that example, an inmate, when the same person who was accused, she is still going to jail. And that's what's happening. I'm not talking about picture. We failed as a people to come together and make use of our resources at home. So now, you might find a benefit over there. And yes, and that is what I am doing right now, and that is what we all have to do. And this is why I kept saying this platform is the right platform. I wish it can go around our communities. As a picture, yes, Philip William, so you guys need to go. Onge wala no necessary milingo lenge saschi. Imuji gurege guy na nege match. That's yoni yako. But it may pick a point where you have to understand il ingo. Ingo given no Arab kwech.
Yes.
We say be just one kid. Amaji iborwo la kwen go sitting Europe ne gure kwech. One kid again.
Anagoje lule.
Mate just one kid. Nimi Europe, ingele Britain, right? Magigano colonize in Britain. If they love us so much, we love Kenya so much, we're going to call our kids by the African names.
Anago barabara. Mi barabara.
Menyuru.
Kiwanja Kiblel Stadium. Cherugut.
You will never
Avenue.
You will never find one.
And a lake ano.
Lake Victoria go ki aineta Nyanza. Kunyuchi ne gibunu Europe ni wure Queen Victoria. Nugoro emet kula aineni itakuwa yangu. Kuna gire Lake Victoria. Ndile chini picture nguno sai matogi ongewal. Like amono. Makitindi leadership angut ataw ne boyonda ni kichamin yar habruta. Kiko jas habruta. A picture tukul jugeju bondo ju tukul ju say they were supposed to go back. Apkole magi gure Lake Victoria. Let's call it Nyanza.
Lake Nyanza.
Lake Nyanza. You would take Lake Victoria. I mean Victoria.
On the same point, ko kaya se miten a presidential aspirant nege guren Bobby Wine. Ko gibesio ko tiena ten Lake Victoria ori. Ay ngomwa gole nyanja ni ko manyalu ke guren Victoria. Kole nyalu ke guren Narubare. Wan kole ke guren Lake Narubare kotom ke wal ke guren Lake Victoria. So I think ko negit ko the same thing kora ne mara kitindo agine kabwatet ne kergok nenyonet. Now daktari kebendi ketaroti tetutiet amache imwawech ngalek oeng somok asikobit kemwochin biik ole muche konyorchi kitabut.
Kongoi, and I thank you so much for this opportunity to speak here, or at least ke ngalal, because really Mama Jangalal Guyo I know a lot. I am here to share some information that I have, and I'm here to also listen. So next time you have another audience, I will be listening. Next time you have another speaker, I'll be listening, because you can never have enough knowledge. Seek knowledge, and that's what I've been doing. And this book, it took me 10 years doing research. So this is not a book. I've been reading for 10 years. There's some books here. Um, don't know where I put some of these books, but some of them are missing here. Books about the man and the Nile. Pick up Nile River. I saw man the Zambia and all those. I read all around. And so to end it here, my thanks to you for allowing me to discuss here. We can come back next time, and I know many people are going to have questions if we can get this around. I am available on, again, Kainet ko ni Dr. Kibet Arap Soi at gmail.com. Again, Dr. Kibet Arap Soi, one word, Dr. Kibet Arap Soi at gmail.com. I'm also on Facebook as Dr. Kibet Arap Soi. These things related Twitter. I've got a Twitter account there, but I just recently opened it because before I didn't see a need. But again, this is my third book, though. This is not the first book I'm publishing. But that's how you're able to reach out to me via that email, drkibetarapsoi@gmail.com. You can go on Facebook. Hopefully you will share the link to my Gmail account. I also have a YouTube account I just recently created, so we can have discussions. But other than that,
Thank you very much, Daktari. En boroini kararan kokeib kinet biik at least komong'u ale kitekeni nekit 45 minutes, but actually kakosirto. En ako tokere mi biik kokerech che mara kokakomach koruyo. Miten comments chekait nguni kole Mr. Neuren Chela Marilyn kole thank you for the show, I'm enjoying. Mjira kibore Andrew Kimei kole watching from South Africa, thank you. Ak alak chechang kot missing among'u ale korkewe Facebook daktari ko imuchi iker kora chemuche iwolchi en yon kot komi chon crucial kitakekurin kora sikobit inyen iwolchi biikab Kalenjin. Now en biik chemi Kenya chemache konyor kitabushek konyorchin ano?
Oh, sorry, I forgot about that one. The books are available. Mite in Eldoret kitabushek. Some bookstore, I think the Eldoret book distributors, I think that's what they call themselves. It's right by Geroyu, Soshani River. I've been going from Gamandaganya Muda Gidogo, so in some of the streets and then go over the place. But if you go to any bookstore, I'm trying to get it to most of the bookstores in Kenya. There's also books in Nairobi, and they are in publisher or publishers. So if you look up other publishers, there's the guy who has the copies, and I can point to anyone who's interested. And my effort there, I'm really trying to get this book around Kenya. I know you have a few copies now, but if it's more that are needed, it's going to need publishing. One other effort that there's a little struggle. Printing these books is expensive, and I'm trying to look for funds to publish, to print a lot more. And so, yes, for now they're available in Nairobi and Eldoret. Arab Quech, I can have it so you can have more there. So in case they need more copies, they can get it from there. Now, next other thing I'm planning on doing is to get it on Amazon, but that would be for people away from Kenya. And so that's my next project. I'm going to make it available soon. I didn't want to make it available on Amazon because Amazon there's a little bit of there was a book that somebody released last year, and I did get a soft copy because people find ways to download and share. So we are going to get a hard copy, and then we'll go into soft copy.
Okay, maybe one last one. Itindoi maon, itindoi keret anan itindoi tetuti isir kora kitabushekab mara eng kutitab Kalenjin kou miten sirindet nekekuren kautien kisire kitabut nekibore nebo Mugen ko kisir eng kutit ako mamang'u ale mara kimi amune sikai kosir en kutit amu tindoi kanetisiet ne nekit kokergei ak neng'ung'et. Wany tos itindoi tetutiet akinye isir kitabushek che isir eng kutitab Kalenjin?
No, that is a no at this point. If I could write in, I could write, but like I'm gonna need someone to help me change it into kutit. So yes, I'm gonna need a translator. Yeah.
Okay, ko kongoi missing biikab Kalenjin en betutab rani kokimiten koboto Daktari Kibet Arap Soi ako kitabut neking'ololen koni tayari otindoi ane ako kirasoman aituyan. So amwowon alen kot isoman kitabuni ko meng'etu kou non imi kila ak kila. Inetigei tuguk chechang kot missing ak inyoru kit nekikuren revelation nebo tuguk chechang che mara tam ibwoti ilelen miten anan momiten. So acherin ichengchigei kitabuni en olekenyorchi ak isoman ak imwochi chito akine kosoman akine. Ele mwoitoo Dr. Soi kolelen yekeisoman kitabuni ko malasima isub tuguk chemiten kitabuni, lakini kit nebo maana ko inai kit nemi kitabuni. From there iamuanchigei inyendet kot itesetai isobe kou yekoisoptoi kila anan kesub kitabuni. So okot akane acherin alenjin soman kitabuni, from there inai kit nemi orit kot konyolu isub anan monyolu. The same way kunon kiamdoi en kanisa kelelen kiamdeun ak yekaketar kelenjin ilelen nee kaiyan anan tomo iyan. Ko bo maana kora isoman kitabuni sikoi itil inyendet imeken your own decision. Kwanibuch daktari ko kakemwa kongoi missing takekurin kora en betut age nyimwowech kora ng'alek cheter akot ngotko matinyegei ak ng'alekab kitabuni nikisir en ro. Kesome kele sieku available yekimokyingei.
I will. And but to clarify, Georgemwa, it's just that I am writing to inform. I'm not writing to change. You are right. My intent is not to sway or to get anyone to go or live their life. This is surgery. I go mental surgery and any surgery. So manage warning. But we'll have to undergo sometimes surgery to be healed. And if you read this book, you don't necessarily have to follow what prescribing on there, but it's a book that you need to know to think different.
Yes. Okay. Ko kongoi missing kot imoche isub tetutioni ak tuguk alak chetesetai en program nenyonet ko imuchi isub page inyon nebo Kalenjin TV. Imuchi isirwech kora email konyonet ebes@gmail.com. Imuchi kora isirwech message neng'ung konyo inbox nenyonet. Imuchi isubech en YouTube ak Facebook ako konekit kora keyote account nebo Twitter. Akoi kasarta age en sait ak boroindo neuni, kainenyun ko Kibet Arap Soi. Inoni ko tetutietab Chumbeekab Kalenjin. Soisere.